I love you guys. You're not all... You guys are cool. I don't mean to be mean to you guys. I love you guys. Alright, guys. Game number 1 of this best of 5 grand final of the ESL Open Cup number 10. ESL Pro Tour points and money on the line, as we have in the bottom right-hand side. Our blue Zerg player from Italy. This is Clash's Reynor. And the top left-hand side, our red Terran player here trying to defend his title in the Big Gabe Weekly. It is HeroMarine. Game 1 of this best of 5. I will just say as well, if this is a good series, then hello to our YouTube viewers. I hope you guys enjoy this one. It should be good. Hopefully it's not just a bit of a bop, because that would be a real letdown. We've had some great games today. Expecting this one to be great as well. If you are watching this on YouTube, then it probably was great. Spoilers. So look forward to it. And of course, you can subscribe. You can like. You can comment down below and be like, Wardy, shut up. Stop telling us to do this every single time we get it. Game 1 of this best of 5. What's going to happen is we have an Overlord already making its way across here from Reynor. Coming across towards the upper left-hand side. Going to be seeing a hatchery, a gas, and a spawning pool setting up in the main base. And the natural. Nothing crazy just yet. Starting out on Nightshade. As you do have our Reaper going to be finishing soon. And yeah, they'll start to head across the map, of course. See what's going to happen. A little bit of build-up here. A little bit of setup in this TVZ. HeroMarine, I believe, did play some mech against Lambo in the earlier games today, if I'm not mistaken. I watched a couple of those out the corner of my eye on the second screen, so I'm not like 100% sure. So we might see like a little bit of mech along the way here. Definitely something to perhaps watch out for. Now, Reynor and HeroMarine is actually kind of an interesting matchup in general. These guys don't play each other all that much. They last played at Home Story Cup 20 and went 1-1. And then the last few times Reynor actually won in WCS. In BlizzCon 3-0, he won in the in a show match, and he won in WCS Summer. They don't play that much. And the last time HeroMarine won was actually in June of 2019. So can HeroMarine bring something together here? The thing is, the losses from HeroMarine, they've not even been close. It's been 3-1 Reynor, 4-1 Reynor, 3-0 Reynor. This is a new patch since they last played, though. So it's a new patch, it's a new world. HeroMarine will start this new world with the 3rd CC up in the main base. Yeah, I feel like in a best of 5, if HeroMarine was showing us some mech play earlier, I expect some mech play at least throughout the series, here or there. The thing is, though, as well, Reynor is not the kind of guy to play Reynor's not the kind of guy to play just straight up standard every game. He will mix in some aggression. He will make life difficult for HeroMarine. He won't just let him build up into 3-4 bases every game without being aggressive. You know, not even let him off 2 bases sometime, I'd imagine. Especially in a longer series like this one. Always good to mix in a roach attack here or there. Keep the Terran scouting. Keep the Terran on their toes. Now, HeroMarine off the 3cc, just a very fast impact, so straight to bio. Up to 4 Hellions right now. We'll go to 5 and 6, so really just straight to bio, not slowing down at all in that regard. No starport even. And for the most part here, Reynor's just going to be allowed to sort of build up himself. As he comes in, he's going to see a stim already underway. And, I mean, this Overlord, we'll see if he actually wants to commit all the way through. I think he doesn't. There's not really much to be gained. We already see stim pack. That's pretty much good information for you. Actually, problem is you can't really stick around here. Units should come to the low ground and kill this off. 1 Marine on the way over. See the engineering base on the way out. So actually from Reynor, a great scout overall, because you actually see the timing of so much of this. Should have a very good kind of eye on what exactly this build is turning out to be for the moment. 6 Hellions. And the Reaper coming down to the bottom right. A few Lings backing away. This is the first kind of important defense of the game for Reynor. A couple Queens from the left side to put some damage out, and HeroMarine's out of there. He's not going to risk the Hellions, keeps them alive. Wanting to threaten, maybe make Reynor feel as though he needs an extra few Zerglings, but not the case. And this is a nice loop around to kill a first creep tumor of the game. So that is a nice defense there. A nice defense from Reynor, but also a nice little pick-off from HeroMarine too, right? To be able to slow down the creep. At any point here where you're able to slow down the creep spread, I think it's going to be seen as a victory. Anything to stop some of the map control here that Reynor obviously wants to set up too. He runs past this creep tumor as a few Lings over in position, and again, these Hellions seemingly not going to get much done. Reynor a few seconds behind on the 1-1 upgrades, but not by much either. He is going to be playing no lair here for the moment, so just focusing on upgrades early, making sure those are on point, and playing into the later lair, which means he won't have Balin speed until about 7:30 in the game. He won't have any tech choice off the lair for obviously quite a long time as well. So those are things to watch out for, as we do have the third base of HeroMarine taken in the front, and we'll obviously keep an eye on what gases he wants to take here to get an idea of what HeroMarine wants to do going into this game. Nightshade was a popular one for that kind of big 8 racks, 1 factory push, but you just go all out Marine, tank production, and you just try and end the game around the 2-2 timing, because you can push down here, get a great position on the 4th base, better than some of the other maps. So if that's one you want to mix into this series, it's not a bad map to do it on. A lot of that will be told to us as we see what gases get taken here, etc. And obviously watching for a second factory being added on too, so a lot of time to see where this game develops, to see where this game goes to in terms of build, in terms of what's happening. Right now, Armory is arguably a little bit late. 2-2 might be a little bit slow. Yes, Reynor needs to finish up that Bane nest. Needs to start Bane speed pretty much right away. I mean, it's going to be like 7:45, 7:50 by the time he gets Bane speed here. As these Queens want to come in to start fighting because the Lings are on the way over. And we'll shut this down, but he loses all of his active creep tumors, so that's some energy he has to spend again. Now the Hellions showing up. There's actually Lings from the top side, so this is turning into a little bit of a weird fight. Good recovery from HeroMarine. Marine's coming in from the top left as well. And he kind of, as the Muslim would say, sandwiched the sandwicher there, HeroMarine. As that was beautifully done to kind of recover from a position that was actually pretty tough. Out of nowhere, suddenly, you know, Reynor's there with extra Zerglings. The Hellions are having to get away. The Marines then come in to save the day. And yeah, the Lings in the end have to back away from that as 2-2 will start from HeroMarine. So it wasn't too much of a delay. +2 Carapace is pretty much at the same time. You don't see +2 melee, and we will see a tech choice of the Hydra's Den. And there is, by the way, our no gas on the third base. 8 racks now in place. Each tank production continuing. I do like the Hydras against this kind of 8 racks play because obviously, again, it really solidifies your ground army. It's a real stopping force to stop this Terran play from just pushing and pushing and pushing. It's a little bit stronger than the Lingbane Muta. Some people would argue the better way to deal with it would be to go in towards Hive and just stay on Lingbane. Fast Hive, get to Ultras. Ultras really shut it down, like really heavily. But I think the Hydras are a good, solid choice as well for this. As Reynor on 81 drones now, it's already down to just a case of him trading well, finding run-bys, and dealing damage wherever possible. As you do see, I wouldn't mind. Pops and a few more units from HeroMarine out in toward the center. 2-2 upgrades finishing up. Oops, a little bit of a... Okay, that wasn't actually a mistake. It was actually preparation against the Dropper Lord. Balin drop here seen early. HeroMarine responding to it early. And that will not deal any damage just yet. HeroMarine will have to deal with it later. As actually, here we go. Reynor for a moment wanted to jump on that, then says, no, maybe not. Just couldn't have the Balin, didn't have the Balin count to really get in on top of all of those clumped up units to, I think, properly kill everything off there. The rest of these Banes coming through, and that is a nice shutdown now. All of those Marines taken away. This Dropper Lord is still around. I'm not sure where it was trying to get to, but it's going to be in dead airspace again. It can sit back for a little while. No real immediate rush to do anything. Again, HeroMarine 2-2 is about to kick in, and this is the push that's going to pretty much decide the game already. Because he's not got any follow-up to this. He's not got a second factory. He's not really got the gas to build into 3-3 upgrades either. So this is it. As a big Ling counterattack comes across the map. 2 options here. As you counterattack, you can also pull back home, back to the center and surround this army if the counterattack isn't working. So a couple of options right now. The counterattack denied. It is keeping a couple units at home. As Reynor's struggling to go up this ramp, he's lost a lot of his queens already. There's Hydra count getting there, but the Hydras don't have any missile upgrades. He's going to morph in a few extra Banes, but this is the dream position already. Oh, the 16 SCVs up in the main. Sorry, guys, missed that Baneling drop. Finally getting through for some damage as we do see Lings coming in from the top side to sandwich this. The Hydra's pulling away a little bit. And more of this army here from HeroMarine coming down to reinforce, so the 16 workers is huge. Shuts down so much of this now. Is going to be seeing the Hellbat getting surrounded. This army continuing on through here from HeroMarine. Pressing forwards. Does Reynor have enough? 50 army supply down is very difficult for him. Can he make this defense happen? He's got money in the bank, minerals that he can't spend just yet. And here we go from the upper right and the bottom left. Lings and Banes and Hydras trying to find their targets. A lot of siege tanks remaining alive though, and a lot of Marines still stemming forwards, man. There's so many siege tanks left alive. And HeroMarine doubling the army supply. Looking really good at the moment, as we're going to be seeing Reynor loses his forward base. He's going to not... Well, these Balins are... Well, they're not meant to be morphing there. Let's just put it that way. Reynor's trying to get to a hive tech. That's not going to happen. Whatever you want it for, whether it's some kind of further tech, probably just Vipers for the blinding clouds on these tanks, ain't happening at all. And these Hydras have not done the job of stopping this army. Just a few too many fights here from Reynor that just weren't good enough. And this consistent pressure across the map from HeroMarine, the consistent just movement of Marines from one side to the other has been too much. And obviously these tanks cleaning up right now. GG is called, and HeroMarine finds himself a game 1 of the series. In the game, as in the top right, down a map, Blue Zerg down 1. It's Reynor feeling the power of Big Gabe here in his hometown, the Emperor of the Big Gabe Weekly. Again, his results in this tournament, the ESL Open Cups Europe, have just been ridiculous, to the point of him just really making this event his. It's kind of, you know, Big Gabe and his challenges for the week every single time. And yet again, here he is in the finals, and once more already 1-0 up. So I was just saying this before the game started, but I will cut that out if this goes on YouTube or so. So I'll just say it again. This is the kind of map where I think he did play mech against Lambo earlier. And I think it's possible to play mech. It depends what style of mech you want to play. I think it's the kind of map as well, though, where you kind of... It's the kind of map where 8 racks itself, if you play bio, doesn't necessarily work as well. So if that's your style, Nightshade's like a really good map for that. I said it at the start of the last game, it is really good for 8 racks, pushing and just continuing to be aggressive. So we'll see what happens this time around, basically, as Hatch Gas Pool opens up from Reynor. This absolutely has the potential to be, you know, HeroMarine going to 4th base, going towards that, and turn it into a larger macro-focused game. As we do have the Overlord of Reynor making its way down to the bottom left-hand side. Early game scouting to be established, and we'll see if HeroMarine wants to do anything in particular in this game as well. Last game, pretty quick to go into 3CC, pretty quick to go straight towards Stim. Didn't really do anything too crazy to be aggressive. I mean, Hellion movement was good, denied a couple creep tumors, kept the Hellions alive for the game. And I think the big part was Reynor just had a few fights where he like went to fight and then he pulled back. And if that happens 2-3 times, you just lose the unit count you need against a very kind of aggressive build from HeroMarine, which obviously you need every unit possible to fight it. So if you've been losing units ineffectively up until that point, it obviously doesn't go super well for you, right? So I think that's what went wrong for Reynor, and that's what he wants to try and fix. His counterattack never really did anything, and again, that's fine, because you can pull those lings back into surround, which he did. But he also lost a few lings trying to run in for the counter, and again, the other fights that then were also, you know, he ran for that surround, and he didn't commit for it, etc. And so on and so forth. Hey, Carl Hungers1, thank you so much for the Twitch Prime sub. Welcome to the Wardy family. Good to have you, as we do have the 2 command centers building. So it's once again a 3CC build order. HeroMarine, 1 gas. We'll see just how he plays it out, as this is already a roach run from Reynor. So this is Reynor saying, I want to set up aggressively. I want to deal damage to you early. I don't want you to get away with too much greed. And these roach attacks have a lot of transition potential. As long as you get across and deal some, you know, decent damage, you can already be drawn up behind it when your roaches and ravagers are fighting. And so it means that the Terran play, if you don't have much to shut it down right away and you take extended damage, the Zerg's going to come out on a big drone lead. And that's typically... This became a thing for Zergs because it's very hard to kill a Terran fully and, you know, thoroughly and properly end the game. It's much easier to put the Terran into a very difficult position and then to drone up yourself and have a big eco lead to play the rest of the game. Compared to, like, back in the day, we saw so many, you know, Zerg players all-inning and they did good damage, and then they tried to keep all-inning and the Terran just about held. And then the Terran was back in the game, whereas now the Terrans, they just come out so many workers behind, the Zerg doesn't continue to commit, and that's why it gets very good for you. This is rough for HeroMarine because he's going into the Viking initially as well. That'll shut down an Overlord or so, but it won't really do much, you know, to really help. He's going Fusion Core. The Fusion Core for BC, it's such a late battle cruiser because it's 3CC into the BC. So you've got so long to wait before the battle cruiser is up, and these Hellions and the Reaper don't see the roaches. As they come back along this way, Reynor's doing a very good job hiding these. He's taking a very long route around the map, though. So the longer this takes him, obviously, the later this attack's going to come in. He's already droning. But realistically, even just a handful of roaches here, there's nothing defensively for HeroMarine. And Reynor already is droning up, building up his glare. Yes, some of those choices are late, but these roaches are going to kill 10 plus workers because there's nothing to kill them. The one thing that can maybe do damage to them is the Viking, and that's on the wrong side of the map. These Hellions will not do anything to these roaches. The orbital command moving to a third base location is going to be what spots these Ravagers, and that's HeroMarine's first sign of what's happening. That's his sign to bring these Hellions back. As you're going to see them running straight in here. Well, he actually gets a first decent connection. Now, Reynor doesn't have the gas to morph in any more Ravagers, so he doesn't have any healing potential on these roaches as they go low. And right now, HeroMarine is going to lose a couple supply depots, so that's a supply block. Now, the BC is on the way out. I do feel like you're looking for some worker damage here, though, as Reynor. I feel like if you just let this come up, and then the Terran's obviously going to harass you with a BC, and you're going to take some eco damage, I feel like that's going to be a real issue for you. I mean, there's a couple of workers now. Don't get me wrong, the supply depots are not bad things to pick off here. They definitely help, and they definitely slow the Terran down. I think there's much more to be done, especially with the BC coming into play. And we've seen him diving back in. Another Hellion will go down. These SCVs being used to fight. I mean, this is finally Reynor getting the damage done that was somewhat expected here. This Viking will try and target down a Ravager, lifts up in the skies. I mean, the BC is now out. Will HeroMarine show it to defend? He will. He kind of has to. These couple of Ravagers should just go for as much as possible. A couple of Biles do grab a couple extra units. 9 SCVs, and I think that's pretty much where you want to be. Now a lot of this comes down to how you defend against the BC. Teleport straight into the natural. Queen's a bit out of position for the moment. First transfusion is there, and the Spore Crawler is ready. That's the big thing, having a Spore Crawler. This thing which will consistently put damage out. Second transfusion is good, and this BC is getting a couple of drones, but not lots of damage. And for the most part, Reynor's coming out of this about 15 workers ahead, moving to a fourth base. Now has his Spire on the way down, and as we see 2 more factories from HeroMarine, it is indeed going to be more BCs and mech behind this from HeroMarine as well. So like I mentioned, a map he was playing mech on a bit earlier, and now a map he's going to play mech on again. Just doesn't want to play this larger map in bio macro games, perhaps. I don't blame him. It's definitely not an easy one. It's got potential, but there are easier maps to play bio on, and mech again can absolutely work here. +1 missiles on the Evo chamber on the natural expansion. The 5 Hellions of HeroMarine make their way out to the top side. A few extra roaches of Reynor into the center. I mean, obviously from Reynor right now, it's a defensive game, you know. A few roaches to harass here and there, but you're mostly aiming to just not take any Hellion damage. You're making sure you don't really die to like a silly Hellion run by. The BCs don't show up and kill too much. This BC is going to take a while to get rid of these roaches, so they can pop in, get a few SCVs, and they're just already out of there. There's nothing off the factories just yet that can help defend roaches. The first 2 siege tanks are on the way. Reynor's got a choice to make here. As he hits the Spire and he's got corrupted production coming in, does he go Infestation Pit and start to move towards Swarm Hosts? Or does he just go for a Roach, Ravager, Corruptor bust off the +1 missiles? It looks as though he's going to go for the bust. More Ravagers morphing in, more Roaches building. 73 drones, it could absolutely be a higher worker count. And obviously, the biggest thing missing is your tech choice follow-up. You know, if you were going to build into a later game here, you would just be building Swarm Hosts already. That's how you play against mech. So this is a bust from Reynor. Now, he is setting up extra gases on the 4th base, etc. now. So he is setting up to, you know, tech up afterwards if he would like to. These BCs move over to the right. What's really bad for these BCs is they are going to be out of position. So they're going to have to teleport home. And if they have to teleport home, the Corruptors are going to find them teleport already used. So there's no micro potential to save the battle cruisers here. As here we go. Reynor pushing down, and there are 2 siege tanks right now. The other 2 unsieged out of position, and he's just going to run straight into this. The Corruptors are like, where are the battle cruisers? Well, they're actually across in the natural. The Corruptors will start to go back to deal with those. I mean, in the meantime, you're going to do so much over here. This BC teleports. Okay, all 3 BCs teleport over here. Now the Corruptors come back in. Corrosive Biles lining up, and he actually nearly gets rid of 1 BC already. And HeroMarine will just type out GG as Reynor ties it up 1-1. The Roach Ravager Corruptor Bust is good. Descendus leveled up into... Oh, I was so close to doing it before the game started. Hey, WikiLeaks, thank you so much for your generosity. 50 total gifted subs on the channel. And 5 right there just then. Can we get some love in the chat and welcome everybody just join the family from that. Also, thank you to Gravix4040 with the Twitch Prime sub in the last game as well. I think I didn't mention that one. I think I did mention Carl Hungus, but if I did not, thank you to you as well. Thanks for all the love today, guys, as we jump into Game 3. In the bottom left-hand side, our blue Zerg player from Clash is Reynor, tying it up. A good bust against the mech play. The early damage, I think, makes it very difficult to be set up properly as HeroMarine in preparation for that attack. And that's why I think Reynor A chose to do that in that scenario, and B was able to do it with such ease, right? Like, he had so much. And what do you do as HeroMarine to prepare against, like, it's so difficult because you're just put behind early. Your SCVs aren't mining, you're losing SCVs. Reynor, again, he builds up such an economic advantage and uses that to kill you then and there. HeroMarine is our red Terran top right-hand side on Everdream. And we'll see if he can get back in shape like he was in game number 1, that Bio 811 push. Let's see if he can keep it rolling and get back on track. Tied up 1-1, Grand Finals, ESL Open Cup, Europe number 10. Best of 5. So first to 3 points. Excuse me for a moment, just need a cough. I've got myself some, I should have known this before now. If you guys ever want to become a commentator, don't have popcorn as a snack. It's terrible for your throat, apparently. I just had nothing else in the house to quickly, eat between a break, and I had some popcorn, and now it's it's making me cough a little bit. It was in my TV. What a nightmare. What a nightmare. SCV Scout from HeroMarine makes its way down to the bottom left-hand side. Command Center on the natural. And we will just have this Marine building up from HeroMarine. Supply depot are going to be finished up in a moment or so as well in this main base. And SCV just patrolling around a little bit to block the third base. This is one of these maps where the third alternative is not really in a great spot at all. So you kind of don't want to just expand elsewhere when this SCV slows you down from taking your third base. So that's why the Terran player brings the SCV across to try and slow that third base as much as possible. And it generally means as well that you're going to be going for a double gas and not a third CC. Because obviously, if you're going for a third CC, you kind of don't want to tempt the Zerg player into going for a 2-base setup. You kind of just want to say, you know what, you have your third base, because I'm taking my third base at the same time. So a little bit of a different there, as we do see this Reaper back up the left-hand side. We're going to be seeing the hatchery from Reynor will drop down in just a few moments as well. So that's going to be coming down very shortly as the Queen of Reynor comes in. Reaper taking some damage. HeroMarine taking quite a few shots there. Sees the third hatch, doesn't do anything to delay it in the end. I mean, he was pretty non-commitment, right? He didn't put down an engineering bay. He could have done a lot more to try and block that position, but he doesn't go for it in the end. Just pulls this Reaper back, pulls the SCV back, and keeps the Reaper looking around for information. You want to be out the front here just in case at any point there's a bunch of roaches that start building or something along those lines. Obviously, so far, not the case. And hey, thank you so much, Solid Snake 1982 for the 3-month resub. Welcome back to the Wardy family. Good to have you on board. So we do have Banshee and Cloak starting in the main base here from HeroMarine, so that will be on the way up as a Reaper and 2 Hellions make their way down to the bottom side of the map. Roach starting here already from Reynor, so already says potential for being aggressive in a bit of a different way. If this is a Roachling attack, it comes off of 38 to 39 workers. You're going to be going for 11 or so Roaches, and then you're going to reinforce with Speedlings. So it's a bit of a different setup, and as he takes 2 more gases, it definitely seems to be that sort of commitment. However, HeroMarine's build order, the Cloak Banshees, is so good against a Roach attack like this, because you're going to have that Cloak, and you're going to have the setup to very quickly do something about it. The Banshees just help so much in that defenses. And we're seeing a Ziglin at the front, trying to keep an eye on what's going on. 6 Roaches building. There's Roach 7. You've got the gas for about 4 more. And then obviously the Zerglings to flood in behind it. So here we go from Reynor. Again, this Banshee and the Cloak is so very important defensively for HeroMarine. One thing he has to be careful of is A, seeing this coming across the map so that the Banshee can be in the right place. Even better if the Banshee can pick up on it as it moves across. And also try and keep the Hellions alive, because they are going to be massive when it comes to defending against the Zergling reinforcements. As they flood across the map, it becomes very important as well. As the Hellions around the top side, couple of Queens, first one already pulling back here as well. And this push of Reynor going straight to the upper right-hand side. Really good surround. What a play that is by Reynor. Lings from the top left. Roaches and Rav just push them up there. Oh my god, you just lost all the Hellions. Well, this is where the 2 Banshees are going to become so important. You need the Ravagers to bust down initially, but if the Lings get through, the Banshees don't kill things fast enough to realistically, they don't kill things fast enough to really defend that. SCVs will pull. I think without the Roaches here to bust through properly, I think you're actually okay as HeroMarine. I don't think Reynor will get through this. He's still making Zerglings as well, so there's no transition coming in. Oh, he does break through this depot, so he's going to get full surround on the first bunker. Second bunker, SCV's already on the way over to it. Does he need a fight? There's no units inside of that bunker, so this is where the Zerglings will start to do massive damage. Oh, the depot on the top was where the repair needed to be, and it wasn't there. 23 workers down right now as HeroMarine's in some trouble. 1-1 upgrades will be denied, and that's big, of course, because then for Reynor, the follow-up going in towards upgrades of his own, they won't be behind. You're taking away the advantages that the Terran player should come out of this attack with, and that's absolutely huge. He gets rid of one, he'll go for the second. There's still a lot of Lings coming across the map as well. Now, the Banshees will go across, but Spores are already down. Queen's in position. There's definitely potential for these Banshees to do some damage, but they shouldn't do loads and loads. These Lings are obviously pretty committed in here. They're going to commit for this bunker, and they will get it. And now do they want to fight these Marines? They will. They'll go in and they'll get a full surround on it. The Ravagers coming in. The Banshees getting a couple drones so far. And that is going to, in the end, obviously be Reynor's units completely cleaned out. Now, this is a 20 worker lead from Reynor. There is 3 CC up from HeroMarine. So rebuilding workers is a possibility. But Reynor's been building drones for a little while now. And by the time you realistically start to rebuild as HeroMarine, Reynor's going to be about 50 to 25. Obviously, it would be a bit better if it was not for these Banshees. These Banshees, 9 workers is the sort of damage that's really somewhat saving the day at the moment. 11 workers now down. Banshees coming through. Queen gets a little bit stuck there. And those Banshees back up the left-hand side. Going to go for another drone or two. This Queen pops out on the third base. But Reynor doesn't move. That's another Queen kill. And those are the sort of losses you can't keep on affording. Moves out of range of the Spore Crawler. However, here is the Overseer, and that is the end. Oh, this Banshee went too far forwards. It will go down. So one Banshee dies. Here comes the follow-up push from HeroMarine. His army supply is up right now, 38 to 26. And he's got Stim, about to finish combat shields. No, he does not have 1-1, but he's forcing Reynor to build units to defend right now, as HeroMarine will build up SCVs behind this attack and try and recover some way, somehow. So 3 medevacs going toward the main base. Lings, a couple of Roaches, a Ravager setting up. We're going to see these units jumping in on this. Is it enough here, though, from Reynor? I'm not sure if it is. HeroMarine doesn't siege up the tanks yet. He does not want the Ravager battles to target his siege tanks down. So he'll just let these tanks sit here and single target damage. He's going to get a Queen or two back towards the ramp. A couple of drones pulling in. In the end, he lifts up and backs away. A couple of Ravagers saved as Reynor up 20 workers. Needs to just get units. He's droning, though. And these attacks are still coming through. Now a tank sieging. It gets corrosive biled immediately. Why is Reynor droning? In what world does he feel the need to drone when this attack is here? He's already at 65 workers, and that's a misplay from Reynor. A misplay that could be so very costly, because these tanks are sieged on the natural now, so Reynor, any attack is going to be hard to make happen. Oh, he's choked up already. Corrosive Bile lands on the first tank, is about to go down here. 19 workers lost, so the entire worker lead which he has now disappeared. This siege tank in the back is doing so much. Marine's still fighting. The Lings are going down, but at the same time, the medevac's out of energy. Are the last few units of Reynor going to play cleanup? I mean, this tank is going to get away, if only just. The Queens are pushing forwards to try and kill the medevac if needed. The last few units as well. One tank still sieged, is likely to go down. There's the Corrosive Biles. He gets the medevac. He gets the tank. So the last few units here from HeroMarine are taken down, and now Reynor can somewhat more safely go into droning phase to get back on top in terms of the worker count. At least more on top than he was before. Get really back up there. Build those numbers and get that going. So we do have Marines and SCVs, the siege tank coming around down toward the third base. This Roach Ravager army from Reynor setting up towards the front. Some creep tumors up the top side. Again, 1-1 missile upgrades. Roach speed coming into play now as this medevac of HeroMarine makes its way out over to the left. Well, I mean, this game gets into a really weird spot because now Reynor's kind of behind. He's building into 1-1 Roaches and Lings, and he's actually making a lot of units. I'm not sure if that's because he's afraid of another attack, or if it's because he wants to attack. Obviously, at this stage, HeroMarine is up to 57 workers. The thing is, if Reynor goes for like a 1-1 Roach Ravager burst, A, it's not really a pretty map to do it on. You're fighting through choke points to get to this third base. I think the secondary reason for not going for this is actually there's just enough army supply here from HeroMarine to defend it. Like, Roach Ravager attacks are meant to be like 30, 40, 50 army supply up sometimes, because Roaches and Ravagers build so easily, and that's just not a thing right now. He's going to move over here thinking the unit's out of position, but there's so much from HeroMarine, and Reynor's very quickly going to realize that this is actually not a fight he can really win. I mean, he's able to get out of there for the moment, but HeroMarine, 3 tanks sieged up. He just has too much. He's going to have 1-1 against 1-1 as well, so there's not going to be an upgrade lead necessarily to work with. Few shots going down. This hatchery, these rocks taking some damage. And the game calms down a little bit, but, you know, mark my word, HeroMarine has a good position in this. I think he's happy. You can see Reynor, he was making units, and there's no reason you make units and move on the map if you're not intending to attack. And the reason he's droning now is because he's realizing this isn't going to happen. He knows HeroMarine has too much now, but he didn't before. So he's committed to that when he could have just been up to 70 workers already by now, 75. So now he takes a 4th base. Now he drops the Bane Nest, +1 melee. All of these things, which obviously the earlier you start them, the better it's going to be for you. HeroMarine brings 2 medevacs down to the bottom side. So he will try and drop with these. I mean, there is a decent defense, some roaches in position. So not necessarily going to do a lot, but it doesn't need to do a lot. HeroMarine is just going to build up, and 2-2 is his timing. You know, he's on 8 racks. He's on 1 factory. It's very similar to the first game. It's off of a very strong position, though, and that means that Reynor should really struggle to hold on to this. It's a 3 base all in, and HeroMarine is going to throw everything he can at Reynor to kill him, and it's going to be tough because you've got so much Roach Ravager here. I don't think Bane speed will be... It depends how quickly HeroMarine moves onto the map, because Bane speed, like, if he pushes with just +2 attack, +2 armor is a bit delayed, Bane speed might not even be done, and if that's the case, that's like, yikes. You know, that's really like, oh my god, what the hell territory for the Zerg player in terms of defending. His drops won't do much, but again, you're just keeping units at home. It gives you the safety to move into the middle of the map with the rest of your army, because now Reynor can't jump on this army unsieged because you know you've pulled his units out of position. Try and drop the top side. Reynor's going to be able to defend there too, but again, it's now giving HeroMarine a chance to move through the center. These tanks are going the long way around, though, because this tank is actually blocking. HeroMarine realizes it. He's just been taking a moment or two to clean out creep spread. Baneland's now on the way in. HeroMarine brings the drops from the top side into the center again. It's an all-out attack. It's about winning this game here and now. The tanks are sieging. Here we go. First few Banelands going down, and I mean, the Banelands just don't have speed, so what are they meant to do? As HeroMarine in the concave, HeroMarine comes running on in. The drones are trying to run, but they go down. The 4th base is gone already. And what, there's 2 Banelands here? Have we even seen a Baneland connect on the Bio Army? I don't think so. And there's very good reason for that, because HeroMarine has hit this timing perfectly from a great position earlier in the game. And here we go now. The Bio Force pressing forwards. Finally, the Banelands have speed, but these Banelands are going to finish morphing into what? A nightmare for Banelings. Bio Army in a concave. They don't get to commit. Corrosive Bars doing what they can to hold this army off, but the Ravagers are on their own. Desperation Vipers from Reynor. The Desperation Vipers that will be what? Blinding Cloud in an army he has nothing to fight with against. GG. HeroMarine takes game 3, takes the lead in the series again, and is now on match point here in the grand finals of another ESL Open Weekly. Wow, HeroMarine. Great game from him, because that was a tough one to read. It was a tough one to put yourself into. See you guys again, and like I say, we cast every single day, and we've got stuff lined up every day this week, apart from Friday and Saturday. I'm taking off this week due to Animal Crossing coming out, but other than that, we cast a lot of StarCraft. Let's kick this off, ladies and gents. In the top side, 12 o'clock position on Purity and Industry, our Blue Zerg player representing Clash. Can he make this a 5-game series by winning this map? This is Reynor. And over to the right-hand side, our red Terran player is going to be HeroMarine. Can he close this out and take yet another ESL Open Cup final? Number 6 for him if he wins this one here, which is just crazy. Really fun game. I mean, obviously, it looked as though Reynor wasn't going to bust through. Then he gets damage done, but he loses a lot in the process. And by God, did those Banshees make up for what happened, right? Those Banshees were the saviors of HeroMarine in that third game. Because if they don't kill 10 plus workers, the army of HeroMarine doesn't have as much threat as it comes across the map. Obviously, Reynor made the mistake of over-droning a little bit as well, but God, what a game. Fantastic stuff as we go into this game number 4 now. I was just saying this between the games as well. If this one's up on YouTube, which I think it will be, Reynor had some weird, he wasn't a fan of this map when he played it against Clement the other day. If you're watching all my YouTube videos, you will have seen that series, and he kind of got bullied on that map, and like he hung on for a long time, but he was never in control. And I feel like it's just because you can go, as you take the base, I think you take this third base, which is a bit back. I think he tried to take this third, and then Clem had to push through the center, and he was able to drop up here, and the harassment through the top side as well, with a lot of dead airspace. It's still difficult, because then where do you take the fourth base? Because if you take it over here, it's actually not really a good spot for you either. It's kind of a tough one. It really is. It's an intriguing map to play on as a... it's still new, though, so it's still being figured out a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see what people decide and kind of come to a conclusion on, basically. As you do see the Reaper dealing some good damage there. Some Lings taking some damage. Reaper backs away. Third hatchery dropping down. Hey, thank you so much, Crispin's for the Twitch Prime sub. KMOX2 with the 300 bits as well. Thank you so much. And also, Hungriger Hug coming in with the Twitch Prime as well for 3 months on the resub. Thank you so much and welcome back. As you do have a couple of Hellions building for the moment. Starport dropping down in the main base. And the Reaper from HeroMarine pressing forwards. Queen will be there to turn this Reaper around just like that. No issues at all. Again, that third hatchery coming up at the moment. Reaper wants to hop up. Oh my God. The Reaper is actually on the other side of those Zerglings. I guess because it had no space to hop up here, it hopped up like there. That was not quite the position that Reynor was hoping that to be. He positions those Lings there to have the 3 of them surround the Reaper when it shows up. Oh, this is interesting. A tech lab on the starport and a fusion core. So we're going to be seeing battle cruisers. And given how he played in the second game, I would imagine this is BCs and multiple BCs into mech. It's funny because we've actually not seen a lot of BC play lately. Like, we obviously... Battlecruisers dominated the meta from TVZ for such a long time. But at the start of this year, they started to phase out of popularity a bit. Mech phased out of popularity a bit during the IEM qualifiers. And we really haven't seen much other than Bio recently from Terran players. The odd mech game here and there. And now HeroMarine bringing mech back a little bit, perhaps. Obviously, we had Uthermal playing some mech against Reynor earlier in this tournament too. So mech coming back a little bit, maybe, as the first BC starts up from HeroMarine. So he gets that ready to go. Command center, third CC, building up in the wall. The question is this definitely mech, or is this going to be one BC into a Bio follow-up? Also, a decent question to ask ourselves. Right now, Reynor is not really making any effort to scout this. He's not sending this Overlord forwards. Okay, he is now. It's just in a slow zone, so it's taking a little while. He needs information. He needs to know what's happening. There are 2 Marines. They're both positioned in the wrong space to actually deny this Overlord, which is unfortunate. So this Overlord looks as though it will get the scout off. So Reynor picking up the information which he needs here, and that will immediately be... I mean, you can already tell he's kind of late on seeing this, though, because the BC is about to finish. By now, you would have had like a Lair and a Roach roaring down, typically. Especially as he's going to see now that this is mech. And I expect a Lair and a Roach roaring ASAP now from Reynor as he realizes that this is a battlecruiser. There's the Lair starting up. He takes a couple extra gases right away. Maybe Roach roaring in a few moments. Maybe he feels like he doesn't need the Roach roaring just yet, because for now, the Hellion's not doing too much. Queen's coming forward, trying to deflect them. There goes the BC in the main. All the Queens are down on that low ground, though, so this BC is going to get some good damage done. It can tank shots from the Spore Crawler if the Queens aren't there to support. Now the Queen's pulling back, but it's going to take a little while. And without the Roach Runner, any Roaches in play, what's going to stop those Hellions from hitting the third base? Well, absolutely nothing. The Lings will come in, but they're going to be in a real horrible choke point. Is there enough here from Reynor? It looks like he just gets a surround. So those Hellions will be denied as the BC comes back in. Already 10, 11 workers killed. I mean, the Hellions going down is really a miraculous defense from Reynor, because if they get in like a choke point, like a Hellion here and a Hellion there, and the Lings don't surround and it's like they're choked up, they die. So that's a really clutch defense on the front, because If they didn't defend that, that's another dead mineral line, and then this game is over. I mean, 11 workers lost already hurts, but losing another 10 on top of that is just, that's GG from the straight, from the start, basically. Orbital command of HeroMarine making its way to the bottom right-hand corner as Zerglings come running across. I mean, Hellions, a few more of those. Obviously, this is mech, and that means that you can give up those Hellions a bit more freely than you would if you're playing Bio. If you play Bio, those Hellions on the map, they're your lifeline. They are your map control. They're everything you need to see what the Zerg is doing and to keep the creep back a bit. When you're playing mech, you're building more of them. So, this as well, right? You lose your map control as Bio. This link run by just so much to deny the third base. As mech, you've built a bunch more Hellions, so you've already got those there in position to help out as well. So yeah, really, obviously, I mean, just because he's playing mech instead of Bio kind of means that those Hellion losses aren't so bad as well. As we do have Hellions and a couple Cyclones, obviously Macfield on the way. The one thing we're missing, Blue Flame. I'm sure that will come in due time. As HeroMarine makes his way towards the main with these two BCs. Yamato is about to be done. The goal here would be to stick around these BCs long enough to get a Yamato off. Because obviously you want to try and at least Yamato before you teleport away. Yamato's a few seconds away. The BC is surviving for the moment. If you can Yamato two queens down here, I mean, you can Yamato these two in the back if you would like, if you can get in range. He's actually right now just picking away the spawning pool. You can see the difference from Reynor as well right now. This game compared to the previous game he played against the mech. This game he starts up that spawning infestation pit, so you can go into the swarm hosts. So a very different style of defending against this. What he didn't do at all was actually build Corruptors, which I do feel is surprising. He's just went for a higher queen count. Oh my god. The 5 HP BC teleports away. That was last second to the maximum from HeroMarine. Wow, that was very close. That was almost... I would even say that's almost a mistake anyways because of how RNG that is to still get it out alive. Like, it's so close to going down. So yeah, Bane's on the way up. He's going to play this kind of Locust, Bane, Ravager style. So it's got a lot of firepower. Every single time there's a wave of Locusts, you've got a big oomph of damage. The Banes crash in. The Locusts are there to deal, huge damage as well. The problem is, again, no Corruptors means that these BCs are going to continue to control the map. You can't ever really shut those down completely. And the main thing is the BCs in a fight are always going to be a problem. So really intrigued to see what comes of that, as right now the Locust being used defensively is never great either, because these Locusts are meant to give you map control. It's meant to pressure the mech player. If you're using these Locusts to just, slow down an attack, and it's not like it's a massive commitment to an attack either, right? Like, using the Locusts in this way just means you're not getting on the map, you're not controlling the game, and HeroMarine is completely fine with that. Every wave of Locusts that doesn't really deal any damage is a wave of Locusts that Reynor basically falls further behind for. So it's a bit tough right now, as you will see Hellion Cyclone from HeroMarine back onto the map. A few battle cruisers will be making their way toward this main base. Scan comes down, and a few of these creep tumors already being picked away at, so creep going down right now. The swarm hosts of Reynor making their way out towards the center. I mean, this is an interesting spot, because where are you actually sending these units? You're just going to try and shut this down again? Meanwhile, BC's in the main, and this is the issue. Without the Corruptors here, these BCs, they come in, and they don't just get the 2 Yamatos of damage. They get, damage afterwards, because it takes you so long to actually kill them off. I just don't understand what Reynor's trying to achieve with these Locusts. That's the second wave now that's done absolutely nothing. BC did teleport away. Just wanted to double check it wasn't blown up. But yeah, both the BCs out of there once again. All 3 of them, sorry. Again, just more damage done. If you look at resources lost this game, 4,000 to 1.3k. HeroMarine absolutely killing it in that regard. He's got 4 bases up in a moment or two as well, and looking very comfortable on 4 bases. And as he brings these tanks forwards, I mean, Hellions and Cyclones and Siege Tanks as well, all of this pressing into the center. See, actually, around the Locust going to spot up already. Oh, actually, they dropped down in a way that actually blocks some of these Hellions from getting back. Okay, well, Reynor, if he's going to take a fight, this is the kind of fight you're going to take. Jumping in on HeroMarine before he's ready from the top and the left. I mean, if there's ever a fight you win here as Reynor, it's probably that one. But even still, it's a 3,000 resource loss difference. So that was like an even trade for Reynor. And even just doesn't really seem to be good enough right now, because HeroMarine's been having a great game so far. So pushing forwards a couple of BC Yamatos to start us here. The Roaches and the Ravager too coming across as well. This army of HeroMarine having to back away from that. And those battle cruisers, I mean, they're starting to kill Overlords, right? There's just no counter to them. And that's the issue. That's what we've said from the start. There's no Corruptors. So what are you ever going to do about the BCs in a fight? Apparently running around stupid waiting for Spore Crawlers to finish. I mean, that's hardly an answer to these BCs, and they are going to kill pretty much every single queen here. The army in the center is just locking on, kiting away. Macfield against those roaches is doing fantastic things. I mean, now these Spore Crawlers are finished up. Even those are going down one at a time very quickly here. 10 Corruptors finally building. I mean, Reynor's Corruptor count is going to build so late in all of this. I'm not even convinced it's going to be enough for him in that regard. Like, I mean, these BCs are going to keep coming over. This base is taking some damage, and Yamato comes down, so now Corruptors are getting shot down as well. Meanwhile, this fight in the center, these roaches still trying to somehow push away the rest of this army. Well, the Locusts might be able to help out with that as these siege tanks are target firing, though. And if they're target firing the roaches, it means that they're not doing any friendly fire from the Locusts on top of the Hellions and Cyclones. And there just isn't the stability that Reynor needs in this game. A ton of CCs building up from HeroMarine as well. And yeah, I mean, HeroMarine is trading wonderfully right now. Just continue to trade. I mean, trades like this will continue to put, Reynor into a very tough position. Where the Corruptors at? I mean, they're just hanging around in the natural. They're not trying to be aggressive at all because there's not really a Corruptor count to be aggressive. Sometimes when you force the BCs to teleport home, you might try and get across the map and hunt them down. But, in this scenario, I mean, A, getting across the map is difficult because the Cyclones are obviously in very good numbers. And B, like, you just don't have enough to, I think, even, make that a thing. So the Corruptors are literally just, sat there doing nothing at all until the BCs come back. Then they're going to get Yamato cannon down. The BCs are going to teleport away, and the cycle just continues. That's if they survive long enough and good enough numbers, because right now, 4 BCs, 4 Yamatos, you're going to go down to 5 Corruptors. That's not even scary. 5 Corruptors is not going to kill this. Actually, there's only 3 BCs left, so you're going to go down to 6 Corruptors. Even that's not a lot of damage output, especially if the Cyclones kill a couple of those Corruptors as well. A few Banes rolling on in here. If the BCs can just get in to help damage, I mean, even BCs just damaging Banes is kind of huge, because what that does, you just shut down a few of these Banes before they connect. Obviously, very low HP units. The BCs kill them pretty quickly. Corruptors coming in. The BCs will go running. BC's not lining up any Yamatos just yet. Maybe wants to keep the freedom to teleport away. Yamatos on the 2 better health ones. Teleports away with all 3. Avoids the Corrosive Biles. And again, HeroMarine just trading out in a scenario now. 7,000 resources better off. If we look at the income as well, it has been a bit up and down, but evening out, meaning that Reynor can't afford to trade as badly as he's trading here. And these couple of Banelings connect. Not really. Cyclone's locking on again. The Corruptor's getting pushed away. You're just not making this work at all. A couple of extra Banes going down. I mean, Swarmhost from the bottom side looking to try and flank him with Locusts or so, but man, it's just a slow death for Reynor. But that's just how this sort of style works. It's not just one big fight that HeroMarine takes. It's like, haha, this is how I win. It's a slow fight again and again, time and time again. And you can kind of see it happening as these few Banes on the right side going to try and come in. Those Cyclones trying to go running. They're actually going to get surrounded. This is the sort of thing you need. The Swarmhost body blocking. The Banes will roll in, and HeroMarine loses a lot. And finally, Reynor has a really much better fight now. Goes from 7th to 5,000 resources lost, to give you an indicator of how that helped him. But that's the first of many fights he needs that go in that sort of way, that go in that kind of direction. Ran across of Biles here as HeroMarine already coming forwards. Enough of a creep getting some lock-ons. He's chasing units down. Ravagers are expensive. Hellions are being hit by these... Hellions are hitting these Banelings. I mean, it's a lot of Ravagers that just went down as well. He's actually going to see the Swarmhost up here, but the Locusts are popping, so he wants to be careful. Corruptors, Yamato'd, teleports away. So BCs are still looking okay, and all these Locusts actually dive down on like 1 Hellion, not microed properly. And that means that they're fighting from the ground, and that means they just don't dive in and do the kind of amazing things that Locusts are meant to do. Jump on top of that army, get damage done guaranteed. And now look at this, you've cleared a pathway up to this high ground, and this 5th base is in some real danger over here. A few Zerglings trying to run on in, the Corruptors coming through on the skies. Cyclones turning, seeing what they're going to lock onto. A couple Corruptors caught. I mean, some Banes will come in from the bottom right as well, and HeroMarine will maybe fall into a bit of a trap, getting cornered away. Reynor will continue to push on through to clean this up. The Corruptors will get on top of these BCs right now. The teleports are on cooldown because he didn't teleport all the way home before. Hence, they've joined the fight much faster than usual. And so HeroMarine's going to lose a lot. Fighting the BCs going down, and that will be massive as well. He gets 2 and will back away now. I mean, the Corruptor count taking a beating, but at the same time, with the BCs going down, you don't really need these Corruptors so much anymore. So it's not the end of the world to lose out of them unless more BCs are built. which is kind of expensive based on what's happening. The Locusts come in at the same time, and they deny a base. So HeroMarine is losing a few fights in a row now. And slowly but surely, Reynor is not just trading a bit better, he's denying economy a bit better, which means that HeroMarine is actually losing out on mining, and might mean that Reynor can mine that little bit more to get him back into this. This base is, oh my god, survives like one hit from death. He'll just cancel it anyways. It's so low, it's not worth trying to keep alive, but it just feels all of a sudden there is a shift in power in some of these fights. There's a shift in how this is going. As we're going to be seeing the army pressing forwards, Reynor coming down, chasing this army of HeroMarine away. Locust dropping into place. 5 bases moving into base number 6 from HeroMarine as well. These Locusts pressing forwards. 3 more Vipers coming up, 4 more Ravagers, 13 more Banelings. The Swarm Host of Reynor out over to the left. They've been so successful, actually, being out on that left-hand side of the map. Like, time and time again, they've come through, and they've really found some decent positions to be in. 3 more Corrosive Bars dropping down. This army of Reynor backing away. Cyclones getting the lock-ons. Here comes some Locusts. Can they do something here? They're going to have to be used defensively against those Cyclones that were looking to come up and maybe find the Swarm Hosts. A few Siege Tanks already starting to go down as the rest of the units pour in from HeroMarine. I mean, now that the Locusts are gone again, it turns into time to attack, right? This is the real moment for HeroMarine where you can move forwards, you can get a lot of lock-ons, you can start trading that much better again. Now, and actually, this time he's going to find the Swarm Host, and that's going to be goodbye to one of the main tools that Reynor's been using to get back into this a little bit. Tries to transfuse. Doesn't go very well. The lone BC is still standing, gets a Yamato, picks off one of those Corruptors. Zergling's trying to run into this, but there's a lot of Hellions to really deal with those Zerglings. They're not an issue. HeroMarine backing away once again. Obviously wants to move away from those Banelings. Still getting a bunch of lock-ons. A Viper or 2 showing up. The Abducts here. The goal of the Abducts is that's to scan to find all these borrowed Banes. Nice attempt from Reynor, but not doing enough. The Abducts are really nice because they can guarantee kills by abducting these Cyclones in. It's just too much, and you can see that Reynor's been losing too much as well. The supplies really are slipping down now as HeroMarine up by 30, up by 40, getting a few extra lock-ons in the game, starting to run away from Reynor, and this is just a bit too much to get back into from. Now your Swarm Host count isn't that scary. The Locusts aren't really going to scare the Terran back. It's one less thing to help you protect as a Hellbat. Soaks a bunch of Baneling connections, and here we go. The Ravagers go down, and HeroMarine puts his name on another ESL Open Cup victory. Wow, wow, wow. Can anybody stop this guy? Even when the Zergs show up, Reynor, he can't do it. Do we need to get Cyril in here next week to stop this guy winning one of these events? Freaking crazy. HeroMarine 3, Reynor 1, and HeroMarine is your champ.